What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about tremolo. Despite having another playlist on my channel covering tremolo with shorter episodic videos, I decided it would be nice to have one longer video where all your questions will get answered. So this is going to be that video. Woo! So tremolo is one of the most desired technique by classical guitarists, but even though it is a fairly natural movement for the hand, many people find it challenging or difficult to master, and that's what we are going to target today. I'm going to build up tremolo layers by layers, step by step, starting from the very core mechanisms and very basic technique, which might not be so flashy, and maybe the first few minutes of this video will be a little bit boring, but I will do my best to make it entertaining, I swear. But the reason I'm doing this is to give you a very solid base on which you can build your tremolo up easily. And trust me, I'm going to just share the most relevant informations and I'm going to do my best to do this the right way. Now, if you're here, I assume you already know what tremolo is, but let's just say it out loud under a minute. Tremolo is a picking technique for classical guitar where we are trying to imitate the effect of a long-lasting note. And unlike violin, where they can, play long notes fairly easily, we had to come up with an idea to beat those knob losers, and that's where we figured out, why not picking repetitive notes really fast on the same string? It will sound like one single note, right? Yeah! Totally! So we are picking on one string with our ring, middle and index finger really fast, while our thumb is playing another melody voice on the bass strings. And that's tremolo. What? Snob? Losers? I didn't say any of those. What? I totally did not. If I want to exaggerate the movement and show it to you without the guitar, it will look something like this. What you need to notice is that the fingers are moving independently, and all the fingers have the same root, but they are going on this route with a few moments of delay very, very fluently. So it's not like they are waiting for each other to finish every picking and then go, but they are going continuously. Now, what does this remind you of? Exactly, it looks like an arpeggio played on one single string. Thank you. I actually heard many people using this analogy, so I'm not sure where I heard it for the first time, but I know many teachers are using this analogy that tremolo is basically like an arpeggio played on one single string. So good news! If you already know how to play arpeggio and your arpeggio is fairly even, you won't have big trouble with tremolo either. Yay! The most valuable concept I've ever learned about picking is that after a tense movement, I always should have more or less time to release the tension of my hand. So when I pick a note, it requires effort. Maybe it requires minimal effort, but it always will require some effort, right? So after picking a note, I can do two things. Now it's still in tension because I just picked, so I can put it back here with some force and pick again. Now if I repeat this over and over again as I'm playing a piece, I will get tired quite soon. So what I do instead is that after I pick, look at it, it's still tense because I hold it, so it's still tense. And now I just relax my finger entirely and it jumps back to the starting point by itself, and it costs me zero effort. So there's a huge difference between putting back your finger to the starting point and just relaxing it and let it to jump back to that point naturally all by itself, right? And if you really think about this, theoretically, I know this is not how it's gonna work in practice, but theoretically you can save 50% of the effort you put into picking. That's a lot. That's half of the work. Ooh, and there was a thing I saw on Mercefon's channel. Amazing channel, highly recommend. I will leave some links in the description. And in one of her videos, she said this is an extended hand. So this is a hand under stress. This is an extended hand. And this is a relaxed hand. Damn, truth bombs, right? But this is gonna be super important later. Let's just say a few words about the thumb too. I'm moving all my finger, I don't move my knuckles separately, and right after picking, it just goes until it finds the way back to its original place or the starting point, and the whole thing can start over and over again. When you pick, right after the note was played, each of your fingers have to go back to the starting point smoothly and without any effort, as I said earlier. The only thing you want to religiously avoid is to pick into your palm, because as soon as you pick into your palm and you start moving the other fingers, the thumb will get stuck in your palm and you just can't really move it freely anymore, and it will just be one big mess. It's gonna be chaos. Just don't do it. Just don't. Our next topic is gonna be balance, because I hear a lot of player has really nice fast tremolo, but it's somewhat uneven. It sounds like there's a galloping or stuttering in it, and there's a little stopping between each sequences, something like that. If you ever heard it, you know what I'm talking about. And the reason is that we use our M and I finger way more often than our ring finger. So these guys are much more trained than this guy. That's obvious. So what I think we should do is to train, first of all the finger combinations before we even start working on our tremolo. So if you work on your tremolo, you know, if you're practicing tremolo exercises without taking care of the weakest guy in the system independently, I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I'm not saying it's not, but I think there's a better way. I know a lot of old school teachers won't agree with me on this point, and I'm pretty sure someone will appear in the comment section saying, "Hey, you cannot train the finger muscles because there aren't any muscles in the fingers." I know, but there are muscles in your hand connected to both sides of your fingers, and they are gonna move your fingers because that's what muscles do. They move things, and without muscles, you wouldn't be able to move your fingers. Duh. I'm sorry guys, but you wouldn't believe how many times I've heard this as an argument. Yeah, so I'm sorry for wasting your time. Now I'm gonna show you an exercise which works on the finger combinations and will help you to strengthen your entire hand and balance it. Let's play the next exercise with the following finger combinations: I am, MA, and finally IA. So we're gonna start with I am fingers and play this exercise slowly at first. Try to observe your movements, try to minimize your movements. You know, the smaller the movement, the better is, but try not to force it to make it smaller than it is comfortable for you. The whole idea behind it is to reduce your, the size of your movement, because it takes less time to run a small circle than to run a bigger one. Duh. So as you can see, we have fast and slow sequences, and try to relax your hand on the slow sequences because that's easier, that requires less effort, and when it comes to play the faster ones, just try to make them as even and crispy as possible. Tension, release, tension, release. Before I forget, let me mention super quickly that I'm going to upload an exercise sheet on my Patreon page, which you can download from there. So if you would like to get access to that, please consider becoming a patron and support my art and work on a monthly basis, starting from the price of a cup of coffee. You will find the link in the description box, or you also can follow this link. Talking a little bit more about balance, there's another concept I noticed on myself, and it is whenever I'm picking with my I finger, I also kind of train this part of the M finger. When I'm picking with M finger, I'm training both sides of, I'm training these sides of I and A finger, and when I'm picking with A finger, I'm training this part of the M finger. But who trains this part of the A finger? I guess no one. Damn, poor guy. So normally, because we don't use our pinky in classical guitar, our weakest finger is the A finger. So what we can do with that is to involve the pinky into some of the exercises to balance the hand in general. If you think about this, it's much easier to do this than this. Holy okay. this feels bad. Oh. Now personally, I don't include my pinky into my tremolo exercises or into tremolo in general because I suck at it. But I still try to make my entire hand a bit stronger, and I find that the simplest way to do that is to do rasgado exercises, including the pinky. So you can practice rasgado technique in order to improve your tremolo technique. Let me show you how. By the way, I really hope this all makes sense so far, because I tend to jump through some logical points, and if this is what's happening, if you're not following anymore, or if there are some parts which just doesn't make sense to you, please feel free to ask in the comment section. I will get back to you, I will answer to you. I promise. So yeah, the rasgado exercise. Raise your wrist a little bit, and this is very important because you can't do this with flat wrist. Thumb goes on the 6th string. You need some contact point. That's why you have to put down your thumb. From pinky, strike the strings one by one with every fingers. The strike, or the kick as I like to call it, has to be quick and very strong, but right after it, rest your hand or relax it. Try to keep the other fingers in place, and the movement starts from the base knuckles. Please be very careful and cautious with this exercise, because if you don't relax your fingers, you will easily get hurt, and we don't want that. So this exercise is a high risk, high reward. I love it, but do it very intentionally and carefully. So it's kick, relax, kick, relax, kick, relax. I try not to overdo this exercise, so I do maybe 4 to 5 sequences during each of my exercise sessions. So just don't do it for 10 minutes straight, okay? I highly recommend doing this exercise with a metronome, where you have 1 beat for the kick and 1 beat for the relaxation, like this. Also, just as I mentioned before, tremolo is kind of like playing arpeggio on 1 single string. So whenever you are practicing arpeggio, you also practice tremolo a little bit. So just keep pushing those arpeggio exercises. Choose whichever you like. I personally prefer the Carlevaro arpeggio book, so I'm going to show 1 exercise from that book. Now, if you're not used to arpeggio exercises, this might be a little bit challenging for you for the first time. And if that happens, if you start feeling tension in your hand, if your hand starts to get stiff, just try to do a little decrescendo, go quiet, and try to relax your hand a little bit, but please don't slow down. Keep the tempo and focus on the evenness. And as soon as you start to feel relaxed again, just increase the intensity, increase the loudness again. Now, before we move to the actual tremolo exercises, finally, I want to say a few words about the metronome I'm using. It's a Soundrunner Core pulsing, vibrating metronome watch, and I personally really like it. So you can put it on wherever you want. I use it on my wrist, but you can put it wherever you want to, and you will feel the beat on your skin, on your body. So I personally think that it is easier to react on this rather than to just hear the clicks. Now, I'm still not practicing with metronome every single day. This device didn't make me love practicing with metronome, so I'm not gonna say things that's not true. But at the same time, I noticed that I'm picking up metronome practice way more often than I used to do it before I had this metronome watch. So I think it's a reasonable device, it's a reasonable purchase, and if you would like to get one for yourself, you can use my link to get one 20% off. It's in the description down below, or use the code BeatrixSB. Now let's move on and talk about Tremolo finally. When I'm going to show you the exercises, I'm going to go with the pattern PAMI, but I know there are some people who play Tremolo with PIMA. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to use my pattern, you can use your pattern, whatever is comfortable for you. When I was a little bit younger, I used to do both patterns because I thought that training both patterns will make my, my stronger pattern even more consistent. But I don't actually know if it worked or not. I honestly don't know. So guys, if you have any experience with this, if you ever tried it, or if you are going to try to train both patterns now, I don't know, just let me know in the comments, because if it works, I want to give it a shot. But if it doesn't, I'm not gonna waste my time. Just let me know. The first tremolo exercise will be very similar to one which we already did today, and it's gonna use the 4 fingers. I'm gonna start with the high E string because that's the easiest. So, and when you are going to get used to the high E strings, you can practice on the B and on the G as well. So, but let's start on the high E string. And I'm going to pick with all the fingers fast sequences and slow sequences. If you remember from the previous exercise, you will need to use a little bit more effort on the fast sequences, and you can relax on the slower ones. And over time, you will need less and less time to relax on the slower ones, and you can play a lot more fast sequences evenly without mistakes. Now, I was playing this exercise with just 3 strokes, but what I also like to do is to practice it with planting. Now, if you're not familiar with planting, it is a type of picking when before picking, you prepare the finger you want to use next on the string you want to pick next. Now, this is gonna stop the string, this is gonna stop the sound, but you are doing it only for practice reasons. And this is a method which also can increase your accuracy. So you're practicing accuracy with this. The next exercise is a little bit connected to my ideas about balance. So I'm going to pick 5 with the 4 fingers. That will mean that every sequence will start on a different finger. Watch. And I always prepare the next starting finger. Stopping each time before starting a new sequence is a really good way to relax your hand. So if you are doing these little stops, use them wisely. You can relax your hand just a little bit and you will do better later on during the exercise. Now, if you start to feel more confident about your tremolo already, you can add a little string changing exercise into it. So you try to play 1 or 2 sequences of tremolo, and then you jump a string. Let me show you. I like to start with playing tremolo on only one string because then it's easier to catch the little unevenness between the fingers, because you hear only the same note over and over again and you will catch that more easily. I mean, personally this is for me, but after time, after this feel more comfortable, you have to start increasing the distance between these fingers and the thumb. Oops. And when you are playing tremolo, thumb should be the one that's stretching. You need to work on this stretching, because if you start moving your entire hand, your tremolo will be very unsteady. You should start to increase the distance gradually, so you shouldn't start from the 6th string. This is a huge gap, so I advise you to start from the top, for example, picking with the thumb only on the B string first, and then walk down slowly, and be very, very intentional with how you stretch, how you move your thumb, because that's something that can get hurt very easily. Speaking from experience. Don't be stupid, kids. Don't be stupid. Take good care of your hands. If you start to feel tense, just try to go back in dynamics as we did before during the arpeggio exercise. Try to go quiet, but still try to maintain the speed, and once you feel more relaxed again, you can become more louder and louder. Now, of course, you also can come up with exercises depending on what you need to work on. You can change small things in these exercises. These are just really just general guidelines for you to have an idea what to do, but you can play them only with free strokes, only with planting. You can play it with metronome, without metronome. You can do minor changes, whatever works for you. But the most important thing is that you need to have a clear goal, or like a clear idea about what you are actually working on, why are you doing it, and what your goal is, okay? And also, please don't push your limits too hard. If you feel some kind of pain, that should be a red flag that you're doing something wrong. So just whenever you feel pain, please stop immediately. Try to understand what went wrong and what you need to adjust, what you need to change in order to get rid of that weird feeling. In some cases, I like to add chords to the left hand part, so the pattern or the exercises will be less boring. You can play around with that too, but the reason I like these exercises as they are is because they are focusing on the right hand so detailed, and I don't know, I'm just not confusing myself with any other things to do. The more things an exercise wants you to do, the less you're focusing on each of the details individually. And especially if I'm learning something for the first time in my life, I try not to overwhelm myself with a lot of details. I try to make it as simple as possible. So working on only the right hand with open strings is just fine. I really hope this all made sense to you, but if some parts need a little more clarification for you, or if you just need some personal guidance in your classical guitar studies, I'm happy to offer online private lessons for you, as well as there's a tier with monthly mentoring opportunities on my Patreon page. I'm going to leave lots of details in the description box, so please check it out. Also, you know the drill. If you think this video was helpful, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and please leave a comment down below. Everything helps me to push this video through the evil YouTube algorithm, so thank you so much if you do any of those. Before you start working on your tremolo technique, please make sure to do do a proper warm-up, and please don't confuse warm-up with just general technical exercises. Now, if you need any help with that, just check out this other video I made about warm-up, including several exercises coming from esport player routine. So I'm really proud of this warm-up routine. I came up with it myself. I really like it. I think it works really well. So please check it out, and I hope to see you there in just a few seconds. Thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah, catch you later.